Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Buffalo Bills Pat Carosa channel. As I am your host, Pat Carosa, and I will give you my thoughts about the Buffalo Bills 20-12 win against the New York Jets last yesterday afternoon. But before we do that, please like, comment, and subscribe so that you can get awesome Bills content throughout the year. So, what are my thoughts about the Buffalo Bills win? Well, first, I was actually at the game on Sunday, and the weather wasn't too bad. It turned from rain into snow, and then by the end of the game, it was snowing every which way. But I would say on the field product didn't affect it that much. It really didn't. But at the same time, it was definitely cold. I had to wear at least 3 layers to the game. Not too bad, but I had to wear 3 layers and a Buffalo Bills hat. So, it was definitely a not a sunny day at the Bills Stadium yesterday, but at the same time it was a great atmosphere. The fans were into it, and the national anthem was really cool because they sang that song. I mean, you can't have a national anthem and not have a sporting event. It goes together like PB and J. But what was cool was during the national anthem, these Apache helicopters went right above the stadium, and there was like four of them, and it was just so cool. It really had you energized for the game that particular day. And let me tell you that those Apache helicopters were basically the highlight of the first half of the game yesterday because 10 straight punts to start the game. Both defenses, it was a defensive battle throughout the game. Both defenses came to play. I mean, let's talk about the Bills defense first. Everyone was worried about Von Miller being out for the rest of the season and how that will affect the defense. And let me say, the defense played very, very well. They look really, really good. One of the top units in the NFL. I mean, you have the defensive line creating havoc on Mike White in the offense. They couldn't get anything going in that first half and throughout the game as well. There was just constant pressure on Mike White. Greg Rousseau is really coming into his own, especially since Von Miller has been out. He's really coming into his own. He's been a monster, really, throughout these last 4 or 5 games. He's been all over the field. He had another sack today. Or yesterday, and he's just creating pressure everywhere he goes. I think he has 7 sacks so far this year, which is another career high, which is good. But, for the defensive line, I mean, you have Shaq Lawson making plays, the AJ Epinesa having another good game. So, overall, the Bills defense, definitely defensive line played great. Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds, great. Just great. You just can't say enough about the Bills defense. Their secondary, Jordan Porter, Trey White. I mean, they all played great. Tackling was an issue a little bit, but at the same time, it was a solid outing for the defense, and you hope that can continue throughout the rest of the season into the playoffs because if that happens and the Bills' defense become really, really good, that can just help the Bills moving forward. So, overall, the defense just looks absolutely excellent right now throughout the last couple of games. They're really hitting their stride. I can't say enough about them. They are stopping the run, which is great, and overall, they're just they're doing great. They're doing great, and they have a tough test next week against the Dolphins with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua. But overall, the defense is really coming along as we get through this season. And honestly, when the weather gets cold and it gets tougher to throw the football and running becomes more mandatory per se, you got to have a strong defense, and the Bills have a strong defense right now. Even without Von Miller, they look really, really good, and I think that's going to continue throughout the rest of the season into the playoffs. That's going to help the Bills so much, so much. They look really good. So that was the defense, and they look really good. They're a top unit. I expect it to be at that level. Um, but what about the offense? Honestly, you, this game as a whole is what I expected the first Jets game to be like. The offense struggling to get something going because the Jets defense is a really, really good defense. It's a really scrappy defense. I mean, you have two good corners in that back end, and then they have a really good defensive line. It's almost equal to where the Bills are at their defensive line, and very similar defenses, I would say as well. So those both defenses mirror each other. So it's not a surprise that throughout the first half, both offense couldn't find their footing because both defenses were just really, really good. So, yes, Josh Allen in the offense didn't really look great. They did get their stride going. That 2-minute offense was really impressive. I mean that Josh Allen made a really good play on a leap. He leaped over a defender. It was like second or third down and 14, and he ran for 15 yards, leaped over a defender. I mean, that was unbelievable to watch at the stadium. And then he also had another good pass, Dawson Knox touchdown, and that was a really cool thing to see. It was the scoreboard side, so I saw it live, but is the far end zone. But he basically did a somersault, Dawson Knox in the air, and that's how he scored a touchdown, and that was impressive. Impressive offense to end the first half, which they needed 7-0, and it was really clear sailing from there on out as the Bills really never gave up the lead. Josh Allen scored another rushing touchdown, so they look. The offense didn't look great. I would say there wasn't enough balance, and they're still concerned about you have Stephon Diggs, but then who else? Gabe Davis, Isaiah McKenzie. There were dropsies a lot today. That could have been the weather, or something else. Josh Allen does throw a hot, fastball, so sometimes during a rain that can be very tough to catch. There's a lot of things going against you of trying to catch a fastball in the rain. So, but at the same time, I wouldn't be too concerned. The Bills are 10-3. They're in first place in both the AFC East and the AFC. So I wouldn't be too concerned about what I saw that particular day. The Jets defense is really, really good. But this is what I would say about the Bills right now offensively. Josh Allen is doing a great job. Stephon Diggs is doing a great job. The offensive line is but Josh Allen masked a lot, especially the offensive line. Overall, they need to do a better job of mixing in the run a little bit more. But they need to have that identity of running the football, but also passing. But they just don't have guys right now that can separate and make plays outside of Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis did some of that, but they just don't have guys right now that could do that, and that's what's really hampering the offense. Not to say that they can't explode and score 30 points in next week's game against the Dolphins. It's not to say that, but at the same time, I think I do question Ken Dorsey's play calling a little bit, especially at the end of the game. And there just needs to be more of an attack mode. I feel like they were throwing things outside the sticks. Play calls were just not as imaginative as they should be. So overall, I really don't have any concerns about the Bills' offense, especially they played the Jets defense. That is, again, that I can't say enough. That is a really good defense. They're making every opponent's offense that they face look silly. Every opponent's. So it's not only the Bills. So, overall, I'm not concerned about it. But, I think they can step into a higher gear. And this kind of happened last year, too, by the end of the season. The Bills, kind of not step off the pedal, but they knew they could beat certain teams, and they didn't need to push on the gas too far. They just had to go smooth, and then once the playoffs start, that's when they go step on the gas and they become a really dominant team. So, I think that's where the Bills are at right now. But their offense, there's obviously some work, but right now I won't have any concerns. I would expect them to beat the Dolphins right now. 2-game lead, so it's not that big of a division game. The Dolphins cannot, catch the Bills on Saturday, so which is good. But overall, the Bills are in perfect, perfect position right now. They are 10-3 in the AFC East. They can practically clinch the AFC East next game. They can clinch a playoff spot in next week's game as well. And also really in a way clinch the AFC East as well, although they probably need another game for that if they win against the Dolphins. So, but that's obviously for later in the week, and I will discuss that later in the week. But overall, the Bills are in good position, and I think that they'll be good. So, but remember, that is it. Go Bills! Remember to please like, comment, and subscribe.